Good morning everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday. Maybe you saw the live over on my personal page and you're jumping over here today. I'm excited about that. One thing I want to make sure I let everyone know, and that is that we are coming around to where I've been doing these once a week for 8 months, 9 months now. And so if you're really interested in kind of going back and seeing what I was doing this time of the year last year, we're getting close to that point. And so, and you can also go back and see what I did from week to week, because I put all of those videos, all of these live videos, I put them up on my YouTube channel. That's aislynn.campbell. And I hope you will subscribe to that, because then it'll give you updates on if I do anything else, if I do a homesteading vlog, if I do a cooking video. I also do a thing called Voices for Wellness, where I meet with different wellness folks that are leading their lives in a whole body, mind, body, spirit wellness. And so those come up about every couple of weeks or so. I put one of those up. So I hope you'll go on that and subscribe. And the other thing that I hope you will do is, in this conversation piece right now on this live, ask me questions. Raise your hand, say, hey, I'm here, I'm happy to see you, reach out, like connect with me, because I want to make this a little bit more interactive every week that we possibly can. This is a great place for us to just have some exchange, to get to know one another and decide whether potentially we could be working together on some consultations or some coaching or some other things like that in the future. All right, today's topic is about companion planting. I am a huge advocate of companion planting. What does that mean exactly? Well, the idea of companion planting is that there are certain types of plants that grow well together. There's different types of plants actually communicate with one another. They communicate with one another through the different ways that they interact with the roots underneath the ground. They interact with one another with the different types of allelopathy or hormones that they pass, the energy that moves from plant to plant above the ground. And so if you companion plants together, then you actually have more success dealing with pests and pathogens. You will have better tasting food. You will have different types of plants that will actually mine the different nutrients from deeper in the soil and pull them up that the other plant next to it, the companion next to it, needed. And so it's real important to companion. Then I also wanted to specifically, now there's different types of companioning for all different types of seasons, for all different types of plants. But this morning I'm specifically talking about brassicas. And the reason is because we are heavily planting brassicas right now. What's a brassica? Okay, a brassica is your hardy leafed greens. It's your broccoli, your cauliflower, your kale, your cabbage, your Brussels sprouts, your kohlrabi, your there's a whole list of them. There's different ones. All kinds of hardy greens is what we're looking for and talking about right now. And okay, so let's talk more about the good guys and the bad guys. When you're talking about companion planting, some things you don't want to put together because they draw in the wrong kind of insect, or they put some sort of different type of pathogen, or often can put a different type of pathogen in the soil that affects the companion plant next to it. So you've got, we'll call it the good guys and the bad guys. So I made a little list so I won't forget the different ones, but some of the good guys when you're planting your cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all those brassicas. Dill. Dill is one of my favorites. Dill is very inexpensive. Once you plant dill, you're going to grow tons of dill. You're going to grow tons of seed. I mean, that's even why you've probably heard of the term dill weed. Are you getting bit by something over there? We're literally sitting on the ground, and all the insects that are participating out here are also participating and biting us. So, dill, you've heard dill called dill weed before, and the reason is because it seeds really easily, and it will come up next season. So once you've got your dill, go ahead and let it grow all the way out, let it flower. You can use those flowers and all of that stuff, the trimmings of the dill. You can use the flowers, you can use the seeds, you can use all of that when you make your pickles next year with your cucumbers in the summertime. But the dill, you can also let it grow out so that the dill can actually seed, and then you can just save the seeds. And so every season you can, what I call it is broadcast seeding. And I do a direct sow. So let's talk about what broadcast and direct sow is. Broadcasting means I don't stick a finger and put 1, 2, or do a rolling seed planter out. I literally just take a handful of seeds and I broadcast them across the area that I want them to go into. That's broadcasting. Direct sowing means I'm directly planting the seed exactly where I'm going to want the seed to come up, as opposed to putting it in a small pot to get it started early and then planting the transplant of that plant into the ground. So direct sow, broadcast dill all over the place, all around all of your different brassicas. Marigolds. I like to go ahead and get marigolds either purchased from the store, or I like to plant those ahead of time in a plant, and then I can place marigolds around my plant. Now, what dill does is that dill helps to keep some of those cabbage loopers away, which are the cabbage worms, the moth that actually eats a lot of our brassicas. It also attracts the swallowtail butterfly caterpillar. That one really likes that, and it will eat that plant. And if you see a swallowtail butterfly caterpillar on a different plant, instead of killing it, you can move it to the dill and let it eat the dill, and then you'll have these beautiful swallowtail butterflies all over your garden in the springtime. So that's one thing about the dill. The marigold actually helps out with a couple of different ways. If you've ever heard of the term pyrethrin, we make pyrethrin, synthetic pyrethrin, to basically kill all the insects around our house. Now, marigold actually emits pyrethrin, the natural pyrethrin. So that's what that smell is. If you've ever smelled a marigold before, you know what that smell is. But in addition to that, it also puts nutrients into the soil, or it puts chemicals into the soil that help detract nematodes. And nematodes will eat the root of your brassica plants, and then you'll get root rot in your brassica plants, and then your actual plant will die before it ever really sets good flower on it, and before you can get the food from it. So marigolds are great. Calendula is fantastic for the same reason for marigold. Nematodes. It also attracts good pollinators. Additionally, calendula is a great plant that you can dry, a flower that you can dry out and use for medicinal purposes and teas and things like that too. Chamomile is another one. Very similar concept to chamomile. Borage. I love borage. Borage grows like a weed, just like dill does. Once you plant borage in any particular garden, every fall, every winter, you will have more borage growing. It grows into a very big plant, so you will probably have to thin the borage out, but it does the same type of thing. It gives better flavor to your brassicas. It also pulls certain types of pests away from your brassicas that'll affect your brassicas. In addition to that, it has an edible flower on it that can be very good in your delicious little cocktail. Celery is a good one to grow around your brassicas. Beans, any type of legumes are great to grow around it. This time of year, I'm planting brassicas, but I'm also planting a lot of my beans. As the weather cools, as we have cooler temperatures, we're going to start to lose the ability to grow beans. So right now, and look for, when you're looking at your package of beans, look for pole versus bush. Pole means it's going to need something to trellis up on. Bush means it's just going to grow in a nice sized little bush. These are good to go around the edges of your mounds and around the bottoms of your different brassicas and things like that. It helps to add nitrogen into the soil. The nitrogen in the soil is extremely important for your brassicas. And the reason is because it's a green plant. So the focus of what you're eating from it is the green part, which means you want the green part of the plant to be the most healthy part of the plant, and nitrogen feeds the green part of a plant, right? Okay, beans. Marjoram is another herb that is delicious. You can use in your recipes, but it also makes the flavor of your brassicas magnificent. Onions are great. It's not quite time to plant onions, but make sure that you're getting onions ordered. I actually ordered onions yesterday. They're going to mail them out on November the 9th, and I'm going to start putting onions in everywhere as soon as I get those onions in my hand. Buckwheat is fantastic. It's a great companion for almost anything. It's a great cover crop. Buckwheat is good for mining those minerals, for attracting those pollinators, that kind of stuff. Spinach is really good, and I'm just now starting to plant spinach. I wasn't really planting any spinach ahead because we still are hitting those high temperatures, which makes the spinach bolt. We're still seeing a lot of different types of insects, those tons and tons of grasshoppers this year, and those worms and all of that stuff, the caterpillars, all of that. They will eat your spinach alive. But right now is a good time to start planting your spinach. And spinach is really good to match up with brassicas because spinach grows faster than a broccoli or a cauliflower does. And what you can do is you can plant the spinach around the bottom of that plant. And once it starts to grow, it'll help to keep some of the weeds out from around the bottom of that plant and just cover the soil and make the soil really moist and healthy. Rosemary, sage, thyme, all great to help with the flavor of your vegetables and also to detract and attract. Detract the pest, attract the good guys. Okay, a couple of bad guys that you don't want to put with your brassica plants. Any kind of summer stuff. Don't plant summer stuff right now anyways. Corn, squash, like if you don't plant any more squash at this point. We might have a warm winter, but the likelihood after a windy cold front blows in, like the one that blew in the other day, even though it wasn't super, super cold, it was very windy and harsh. Your squash, your summer things, your basil, things like that, they don't like that stuff. They're going to die back anyways. So just kind of set that aside for now, but definitely don't put those near any of your brassicas. Strawberries. It's not time to plant strawberries down here anyways, but don't put strawberries near brassicas. Nightshades. What's a nightshade? That's your tomatoes, your peppers, that's your potatoes, that's your datura plant. That's one of the plants I've talked about for years. It's the moonflower. That is a nightshade as well. And last but not least, radishes. Radishes just don't companion well with brassicas. They're just a little bit different. Now, one of the brassicas that you can actually companion well with your nightshades, if you're still putting your tomatoes and your peppers and things like that in, collards. Collards actually, and radishes. Those two will actually companion well with your nightshades. So keeping that in mind, because sometimes you've got some brassicas that'll do things just a little bit differently than the other brassicas. So that's really it. I am planting a ton of all of those. I'm planting broccoli. I'm planting broccoli rapini. I'm planting cabbage. I'm planting all of those great different types of delicious kale. We're actually going to use some kale this morning. That was kale that I planted last November, January-ish time. November, December, January. That has lasted through the entire year. I've got some dinosaur kale and then some pretty purple kale. We're going to use that in our frittata, the hucuna frittata this morning. Alrighty. Okay, so a couple of things I want to tell you about. And first of all, I want to again say, please go over to my YouTube channel. That's where you can get all of these videos. They're all been downloaded and put up on YouTube. You can see almost a year's worth of them. Go ahead and subscribe. That really helps me out. Doesn't cost you anything. Then in addition to that, I have done now a recorded seasonal series of videos. And those videos are now from September and October. And if you're interested in purchasing those, let me know. I'll send you a link to it. It's really simple. And each time that I do one of those seasonal workshops like I did yesterday, I will do another recording and I will add that to the series. And then, work with the price structure on it, just a little bit on that. In addition to that, I have this new amazing thing that I'm super excited about. We are moving in the direction of launching it. It is a foodscaping 6-week masterclass. It's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited. It's going to be online, so it won't be something you actually have to show up at. It'll just be a live interaction just like this, but very, very focused on foodscaping and what does foodscaping mean. And I will be launching that soon and giving you guys a awesome live interaction about foodscaping. What all does that mean? And then give you more information about what that class is going to look like and what that 6-week master class is going to look like. I'm really excited to launch that. That'll be coming very soon. Also, don't forget, I do edible landscape consultations. So you can come in and just point and shoot, tell you what I think you should do with your property to get it in the edible landscape, foodscape style that you want. In addition to that, I can do some one-on-one private coaching with you in your very own garden. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys out on all of that. Last but not least, I have to always remind everyone that every Monday morning we launch an episode of Dinner Table Talks. That's Joe and I's podcast. This week, we were just listening to it. We like to edit that on Sunday mornings and get the final edit put together so that we can launch it on Monday morning. It's funny. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. So I hope you guys will tune in to that. That's really all I have to say today. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And I look forward to reaching out, connecting with you all over the next week. I hope you have a fantastic week. I will see you all very soon.